Hi team, I hope you're all well. Today I am going to do my May wrap up. I read quite a few books this month. I think I read 17 books, so I did quite well this month. I'm pretty impressed. I got quite a few 4.5, well, 4.5, 5-star reads in here, so really happy about that. And I actually managed to read a couple of my anticipated books as well of the year, which I'm excited about. So yeah, despite how much of a turn down my mood ended up becoming, I did all right. I didn't do too bad. I think it's because I read quite a bit in the beginning of the month, so I think by the first 5 days I'd already read like 5 or 6 books, so I did quite well in the beginning of the month. So towards the end of the month I didn't read a lot, but it was made up by the beginning of the month, so that's good. So let me tell you what I've read and what I thought of the books that I read. So to start off with, I read On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This is the second book I've read by Angie now. I read The Hate You Give in April and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was amazing. I listened to both of the books on audio. This is following Brie, who is 16 years old. She wants to get out of... Oh no, she wants to be one of the greatest rappers of all time. Sorry, I don't know where I got that from then. Making stuff up in my head about a book. And she basically, it's just her story about becoming a rapper. And there are raps in this, so I do recommend listening to the audio, but the narrator's fantastic. She did both The Hate You Give and On the Come Up. She's really, really good, and she gives the raps a really good go. But it was really, really good. Her mum is struggling. She's the only one working. Her dad has died. He was part of a gang and he was shot and killed. So her mum ends up losing her job. They end up having to move out and move in with her grandparents, and just a lot of stuff happens. She's got a brother as well who has got a degree but doesn't go and do a job with the degree. He ends up just working in a shop, I think it is. I can't fully remember now because obviously it was the beginning of the month when I read it, but it's her story and it's very, very good, and I do highly recommend it. I did give this 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. Really, really highly recommend. Yeah, I loved it. I'll read anything else by Angie Thomas from this point onwards. Anything else she comes out with, I will be reading it. She's fantastic. Probably one of my favourite authors from here on out. So yeah, she's very, very good. Next, I read 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. This was on my 30 for 30 TBR. And I'm very excited to finally get to it because I have seen the show and I really, really loved it. I've only watched season 1. I did try and start season 2, but I didn't really see the point in there being a season 2. I'm not sure why they carried it on. So this is following Clay Jensen, and he one day finds some tapes on his doorstep and he's wondering where they've come from. Anyway, he listens to the tape, there's 13 tapes, and it turns out it's Hannah, a girl that he used to work with when he worked at the cinema, has killed herself, and it's her. There are 13 reasons why she killed herself, and he is one of the reasons, along with 12 other people. And I actually don't know if there's 12 other people or whether there's like 11 and just one person comes up twice. I can't remember, but there's 13 reasons why she killed herself, and this is the story of Clay listening to Hannah's tapes. So it was very, very good. I did prefer the show, if I'm honest. Now I don't know if that's influenced because I've seen it first. Usually I can appreciate when a book is better than like a show or a film that I've seen where I've seen the film first, but in this instance, I did prefer the TV show because I think it just went into a bit more detail. So in the book, it literally follows Clay and his story of listening to the tapes, whereas the TV show, it follows Clay listening to the tapes, but it also follows Clay interacting with the other people that are involved with the tapes who have already listened to the tapes. So it's really good to sort of see that interaction and see the story evolve in that way. Now, I understand they've got a pan in order for the series to last 13 episodes, which I think it was. I know they've got to pan it out and stuff. It can't just be Clay listening to his tapes. But I don't know. I did enjoy the book, but I did prefer the series, if that makes sense. So I gave this 4 stars. I did enjoy it. So that's another book off my 30 for 30 TBR. And it was very, very good. Next, I read Peter Pan, which was really, really cute and fluffy. I listened to this on audio and I'm glad I did, to be honest, because I don't know how much I would have got through this physically reading it. This is by J.M. Barrie, and this edition does have illustrations, so it wouldn't have been too bad reading it, I don't think, but it was not heavy, if you like, but obviously it is a child's sort of story, so I did kind of struggle with it a little bit. Sometimes I do love to read children's stories. So for example, I will forever reread Winnie the Pooh. I'm obsessed with Winnie the Pooh. And any stories that A.A. Milner's sort of done surrounding 100 Acre Wood and those characters. But I did struggle with this just a little bit. It was okay. I got to the end. I was so thankful when I got to the end. I didn't really want to carry on with it. I feel like Peter's a little bit selfish, and I don't know, I just sort of grew up always loving Peter Pan. And I don't know, Tinks, she's very, I don't know, maybe I've just been naive as a child, and then as an adult I sort of see them for who they are, the characters. So Peter can be a little bit selfish with Wendy, for example, and then Tinks, she's very me, give me attention, which I know she's meant to be, but it just irritated me in the book. So yeah, it was okay, but I didn't love it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was okay. I enjoyed it. I didn't mind it. It got 4 out of 5 stars. So I think it's because I can appreciate the story. I understand the story. It's just as an adult, I've not enjoyed it as much as I probably would as a kid. So I've given it probably the extra star that I would have probably taken away from it had I not understood Peter Pan and grown up with him as a kid. Yeah, it's alright. It's something that I will share if I ever have kids in the future. I will share with them. It's not like I'm going to take it away from them just because I didn't enjoy it as an adult. I'll share it with them in the future. But yeah, it was cute and fluffy. It was fine. Whatever. Next, I read Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I loved this. I adored it so much. It was so freaking cute. I'm trying to remember, did I physically read this? I think I did. I physically read it, and then it's come on Scribd since then. Which I'm a little bit bummed about, but at the same time I'm really glad I physically read it because it was really, really good. So basically I started reading this one afternoon, and I can't remember if I just read it through the whole day and just read it in a day. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I couldn't stop with it. So Eliza basically doesn't have a lot of friends in real life, and she is a loner at school and stuff, but online she has like tons of friends online. She owns basically a fan fiction graphic novel kind of thing, like comic book kind of thing, and she is known by loads of people, but not as Eliza. She's known as something else online, and there is this one guy that's like really obsessed with what she does and her work, and he's like a huge fan and all this lot. And it turns out that there is this boy at school that a new boy at school that she ends up becoming quite good friends with, and there is some stuff that happens, and basically it's just sort of following their relationship, but also following Eliza as a person on her own as well. So it's very, very good. It's got some anxiety rep in it, so we'll just sort of be aware of that. But it's really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much. It was really, really good. And it was a really, really fast read. So for example, there are like messages, when she's online with her friends and stuff, because a lot of it is based online, there is a lot of that going on. And then when it's not based online, there's a lot of dialogue in this book. So it's a really fast-paced read, very well written. Francesca's done an amazing job with it, and I just really, really loved it. Thought it was fab. 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Once and Future by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. This is a gender-bent King Arthur retelling. Our King Arthur is female, obviously. She's called Ari, and this is set in space. So, just to add even more of a twist on it, it's set in space. There is a Merlin. There are loads of other characters as well, and it's just really, really nice to sort of see these characters. So basically Merlin has obviously it's really difficult to explain, but Merlin's got this curse on him, if you like, where he has obviously begun as an old man and eventually sort of becomes a younger man. So Ari is the 42nd reincarnation of Arthur. I can't remember which one she is. I think she's the 42nd reincarnation of King Arthur, but apologies if I'm wrong. But essentially Merlin just sort of wakes up out of a sleep every single time one of the King Arthurs reincarnates, and he's woken up this time and he's basically a young man. He just gets younger and younger. That's sort of the curse that's on him, and basically he's got to help King Arthur try and break this curse and sort of bring humanity to peace, etc. So it's just really nice to sort of see Merlin go through the motions of sort of seeing who is with Arya at the time and who each of the Knights of the Round Table, each of these people are that King Arya is with. So it was really, really good. I enjoyed it. That was a really shit explanation of what's going on in this story. It's really good. I did enjoy it. It's hard to explain. It took me a while to get through this. So I think it took me over a month to get through this. So I think I started this in April and I finished it in May. So it's fast paced to the point that this book alone probably could have gone over 2 books at least, if not 3, if they'd have gone into a bit more, you know, world building and explaining, etc. But at the same time, it took me ages to read it. I think it's quite heavy in the fact that there is so much going on, but in such a short space of time. It's quite heavy in that respect. I did enjoy it. I gave it 4. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. 4.5 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it. It was good. I am looking forward to the next one. There's going to be a second one. There is a female-female relationship in this. There is a male-male relationship in this. And there is also a non-binary character in this. So it's very, very exciting. There's a lot going on. Lots of LGBTQ plus rep in here. And I did enjoy it. It was really good. I am looking forward to the next one. I think it'll be really, really cool. But this edition is gorgeous. This is the Illumicrate Special Edition. So, yes, I need to get on with this vlog because it's already like 11 minutes in and still got lots of books to tell you about. So the next one I read was Emergency Contract by H.K. Choi. I think that was the name of the author. I will show a picture of the book here. I have since sent this to a friend who was really looking forward to reading this. I was sent this by a friend, by Moon Kestrel. Thank you, Moon, for sending me that. And I sent it on to another friend then because I think it just needs to be read by people. It was really, really good. I loved it. It was fantastic. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I did really enjoy it. It's, again, very easy to read. It's fast-paced read because it's a lot of texting to and fro. It's about a young girl who cannot wait to leave home so that she can go to college. She lives with her mum, and her mum is one of these, you know, like a MILF, essentially. She's quite hot, and she gets a lot of attention from guys, and our main character, she can't really stand it. She hates it. So she can't wait to go to college. She moves to college and she ends up meeting this boy who runs the local cafe, and they sort of become each other's emergency contacts because of a thing that happens, an encounter, and their friendship just sort of blossoms from then on. There are some complications with it, and it's just really, really good. It's really cute, and I just really loved it. I think I did end up getting a bit teary-eyed at one point as well. It's very, very good. I do highly recommend it. Emergency Contact, 5 out of 5 stars. Really good. Next I read Halls by Louis Sasha, another book on my 30 for 30 TBR, and I really enjoyed this. I don't know why I've been putting this off for so long. It's only a short book, and it was really, really good. It's 233 pages long. It's really good. It's told from the perspective of a young-ish boy, and he goes to this place. Basically he gets done for stealing some trainers from a charity event that have been given by like a really top, I don't know, basketball player or baseball player, I can't remember. And he gets done for stealing the trainers. He didn't steal the trainers essentially, but he gets done for doing it because they're found on his person at the time, and he gets sent to this camp, essentially at Camp Green Lake, which is a really weird place, and it's instead of going to jail, so he goes to Camp Green Lake, why can I not remember that, and ends up meeting a group of lads who are there as well, and they just dig holes all day, and essentially it's his story of finding out why they're digging holes, figuring it out with one of the other boys, and then the story continues. I don't want to tell you any more than that. I am intending to watch the film for this. I have never seen it, so I am intending to watch the film. I'm very glad I read it. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was great. Really enjoyed it. Another book on my 30 for 30 TBR. Done. I think this was a 5-star no, an anticipated read for me for this year. I can't remember, but this is Are We Nearly There Yet by Lucy Vine. I adored this. This was fantastic. Gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I knew from the couple, probably the first chapter, to be honest, that I was going to love this. The writing style is very similar to that of Lindsay Kelk's, and as it turns out, Lucy and Lindsay are friends, and I really, really loved it. I love this type of writing style, and I just really enjoyed it. It was very, very good. This is about a girl who she's about to turn 30, and at her birthday, her best friend is late to her birthday party. She's gone for a meal, and it's at this point that she realises all her friends are getting married or like in relationships, having kids, etc. She's still single. She's at a bit of a bum job, and she's still texting constantly her ex-boyfriend to get laid, essentially. And it's her best friend turns up with her boyfriend, Jeremy. Eva is her best friend. Her best friend turns up with her boyfriend, and our main character, why can I not remember her name? I think it's Alice. Let me just double check. Alice does not like Jeremy at all. She's not a big fan of him at all. Not sure why. Maybe it's because she's taken her best friend away from her. She lives with Eva in Eva's like parents' flat or something, and Eva turns up late to her birthday and tells her she's pregnant with Jeremy's baby. So Alice sort of loses her shit, and she is found underneath the table that they're having the meal on by her brother, texting her ex-boyfriend to want to go round later on for a booty call. So her brother sort of takes the piss a little bit, and then she says, right, well, I'll text him now and give him a load of grief. She ends up sending the text accidentally to her boss. She ends up losing her job. She decides to go travelling for 3 months because she thinks Eva's going to kick her out anyway. So she goes travelling to try and find herself. And as it turns out, she's not finding herself. She's running away from her problems. There's a lot more problems that she's got that you don't realise in the beginning of the book. But this is really, really good. Fast-paced, lots of dialogue. She writes a blog to start off with. So it always starts off with a blog post to start off with for the next chapter. And you find out what she's getting up to. She's usually lying in the blog post about what she's getting up to. But it's really, really good. The writing style's brilliant. Loved Lucy's writing style. We'll definitely be picking up more from her. I've actually bought one more of her books, which is Hot Mess. And I've put the rest of her books into my wish list on Amazon. So really, really good. 5 out of 5 stars. Doesn't come out till, I think it's 27th of June. So keep your eyes out for that because it's very, very good. Next, I read The Furies by Katie Lowe. And I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I wasn't a huge fan. This is following a young girl who a couple of years, maybe a year prior, her dad and sister died in a car accident that she was actually in as well. And she survived, she was fine, she didn't have a scratch on her, but they died on impact. She ends up going to a new school. Her mum is almost like completely AWOL in her head, essentially. She's just not with it at all. She essentially looks after herself. She goes to this new school, makes friends with 3 other girls, and they're involved with sort of witchcraft and all this lot. And it's a lot like The Craft. If you've ever seen the film The Craft, that's all I could think about the whole time. But there's obsession, and just obsession with like friends, obsession with like men, people, whatever. And on the back it mentions obsession, witchcraft and murder, which is essentially what the book is about. And it was okay, but it wasn't up my street. I think I prefer to watch things like this than actually read them. So The Craft I loved, for example. But I think I do prefer to sort of watch this kind of thing than read it. So I don't think it's necessarily Katie's writing at all. I think it's just me. I don't think it was up my street. But 3 out of 5 stars, it wasn't too bad. It was fine. Then I read Love, Simon, aka Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I have seen the film for this. I read this and then I watched the film again immediately after. And I just loved it even more. It was great. I really, really loved this book. It was fantastic. I think I listened to this on audio. I must have done because the spine's perfect on the book. But I get the feeling that this would be a nice, easy read. There's lots of dialogue. There are lots of emails to and fro, etc. Between Simon and Blue. So Simon meets a boy online called Blue. Simon is gay but hasn't come out to his family and friends. Blue is also gay, hasn't come out to his family and friends. They go to the same school but neither of them know who each other are because they've obviously got names online that aren't their actual names. So Blue isn't his actual name, and unfortunately Simon has been emailing Blue from a computer at school and forgot to log off, and another boy ends up finding these emails and tries to blackmail Simon into getting Simon to one of Simon's like girlfriends to date this other boy, and otherwise he will tell everyone about Blue. So essentially it's the story of, it's Simon's coming out story, how this is taken away from him, and it's about Simon finding love. Essentially, it's really, really cute. I absolutely adored it. I already adored it anyway because of the film, and I love Nick, the guy who plays Simon. He's so beautiful. I love him so much. I just loved the film. I loved the book. I loved everything about this. It was fantastic. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I adored it. It was really, really good. Next is Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. I loved this book. I loved it so much more than I thought I was going to love it. So I was given this on NetGalley by NetGalley and the publishers, and I just sort of resisted. I don't know what was wrong with me. I was putting other books above it and I was resisting reading it, but I did buy this physical copy, and eventually read it, and I just really, really loved it. It was really, really good. Fantastic. We are following Kaylin Flowers, who is she works in law. She works in when you're opening accounts up for people, bank accounts and stuff, she works in that kind of law. And then Daxton Hughes, who is, as a kid, he was in a TV programme, so he's famous. And it sort of starts off with their meet cute at college. So Kaylin bumps into Daxton at college, literally bumps into him, knocks both of them on their ass. And it's their meet cute. She completely fangirls over him because she was obsessed with him when she was younger. She still is. And then it sort of very quickly sort of goes over what they were like in uni, and Daxton sort of screwed her over, not uni, sorry, college. Daxton sort of screwed her over in college, and then several years later, as a lawyer, Daxton turns up with his mum and dad and needs help sort of setting an account up for his younger sister. And then the story sort of goes on from there. I don't want to tell you exactly what happens. I might have already done that in a reading vlog. Apologies if I have. But yeah, he then eventually needs some help from Kaylin with something, and it's that sort of story. It's gorgeous. I absolutely loved it. I love the writing style. There is a little bit of stuff that's quite PG-13, if you like, and I actually really enjoyed that smutty bit as well. It was written really, really well. Sometimes that can be a bit cringeworthy, but it was written really, really well. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend it. It's very, very good. Then I read Romanov by Nadine Brands. This, I think that's how you say that. I really should figure out how you pronounce her name. I apologise, Nadine. This was a really, really good book. This was following the Romanov family and the sort of the king at the time, and he's been dethroned and they've been exiled to Siberia, I think it is. Siberia, I don't know, I'm rushing that. Siberia. And it's the story of the daughter of him, who is now an ex-princess. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I've literally written a blog post this morning. Why can I not remember her name? I'll link the blog post down below that sort of gives you my review and everything. It's a story of her and trying to help save her family and get some salvation for her family and stuff, while also building up a friendship with one of the guards that are holding them captive wherever they are in Siberia. So it's very, very good. I know nothing about the Romanov family prior to this book, and I'm probably going to read into it now a little bit to sort of get some more information, because I did find it really, really interesting. It's very good. There is a slight bit of magic in this towards the end of the book, and I do highly recommend it. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really loved it. Loved Nadine's writing as well. So I have Forks on my shelves somewhere that I'm going to read round about November, because it sort of ties in. It's a Guy Fawkes retelling, if you like. So that's by her as well. I've had that for a while and I've been wanting to hold off reading it until November. So I am going to read that because I really did enjoy her writing style. But yeah, really good. Highly recommend. 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then I read Again But Better by Christine Rico. I loved this book. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on this book. I believe Christine is a YouTuber. I haven't looked for a YouTube channel actually. I should probably do that, but I really, really enjoyed Again But Better. This is following a young girl who is going to school to be a doctor, college to be a doctor, and she's sort of being, as it turns out, she's kind of being forced into it by her parents. She wants to be a writer, but her dad sort of sees it as a dead-end job, and her mum had to quit being a doctor to have her, so she's kind of being forced into it by her parents. She ends up coming across a writing sort of summer school kind of camp thing in London. She's from the US, and she lies to her parents about it being a medical kind of summer camp thing. She manages to get her parents to agree to send her, and she goes over to the UK. So she stays in London for the summer, and it's the story of her making friends over there. She's no friends in the US. She just lives like in the library, and she's studying all the time, so she's no friends at home. She makes loads of new friends. As soon as she gets to the apartment, she ends up meeting a boy that she really, really likes, and it's got a big twist towards the end. There's a bit of magic in it. It's got a really big twist. This is a story about if you could get a second chance, what would you do with it? How would it turn out for you? And I just really, really loved it. It was very, very good. It was everything I ever wanted from a second chance like story, and I just really, really enjoyed it. The writing was fab. Really, really loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. Couldn't recommend it more, to be perfectly honest. It was very, very good. Then I read Bride Squad Runaway. This was actually my last read of May, but I wanted to save these other 2 books because they're my favourite books of the month, and they're going to probably be in my top 5 of the year. So, Bride Squad Runaway by Caroline Grace Cassidy and Lisa C. Carey. I am part of the blog tour on this, so I'm not going to give too much away, but I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was okay. There was a lot of inconsistencies in the story. Things like one of the characters was behind the wall having a pee, while another one of the characters was in the road trying to flag down a car, and there was 3 characters in this scene, and the character behind the wall jumps out from behind the wall to help the friend in the road flag down a car, and then the other character that I've not mentioned yet jumps behind the wall to be with the girl that's behind the wall. She's not behind the wall anymore, she's in the street. Nevertheless, it was the premise of the story, it was very, very good, but those inconsistencies bothered me so much to the point that sometimes I would have to reread an entire page just to make sure I hadn't missed anything. So it did bother me. I am going to reflect that in my review on the blog tour, but there were a couple of things towards the end that I've tabbed up that I can mention that were really nice. So yeah, it was okay. 3 out of 5 stars. It was all right. It's nothing to shout about, to be perfectly honest. And then my last 2 books, which I'm really excited about. The first one is Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali. I am obsessed with this book. I listened to this on Scribd, and then I bought it because I just couldn't not have it on my shelves. I want to lend this out to everybody to read, basically. I'm not going to do so because it's a gorgeous book, but it's one I will reread over and over again. This follows, who's it following? I've forgotten the name. Oh, Adam and Zeneb? Oh God, Z. So basically Adam and Zeneb, A to Z, and it's following them both from 2 sort of not different backgrounds, to be honest. Actually, they're quite similar backgrounds, but it just sort of deals with a lot with like race and racism, especially from Z's side of things, and friendship, relationships with parents, relationships with aunties, other family members, relationships with friends. And it's really, really good. Like, I'm just so obsessed with it. I highly recommend it. It's 5 stars from me. This is 100% going to be in my top 10 of the year, if not my top 5. I absolutely adored it. The writing was fantastic. S.K. Ali's done an amazing job with this, and I will 100% be picking up anything else she writes from here on out, or anything else she's previously written. I don't know if this is her debut novel. I'm not sure, but I'm going to check that out and double check. But yeah, adored it. It was fantastic. And how gorgeous is this cover? Seriously. They need to make it into a film though and have these 2 because they're gorgeous. Look at them. Absolutely beautiful. Loved it. And finally, I Heart Hawaii by Lindsay Kelk. Oh, I love this book. It's the 8th and final instalment in the I Heart series, which starts off with I Heart New York. I mean, the only reason I ever picked the book up was because it had the words I Heart New York on the title. Lindsay's writing is outstanding. She's my favourite author of all time. I literally adore her as a person, as a writer. I just adore her. I think she's amazing. This book, I can't tell you too much about it because it will spoil what happens in the rest of the series, but it basically brings everything together. This is obviously the last book in the series, but it brings everything together in such a beautiful way. Like, I adored it. I couldn't even begin to tell you what I wanted, how I wanted this series to end, because I didn't want it to end that badly that I just couldn't tell you how I ever wanted it to end. I think I probably wanted it to end with the main character, Angela, actually dying of old age, and that's how the story ends, because she's literally died. But essentially it's been wrapped up amazingly well. This entire series is a series following our main character, Angela Clark, who decides to run away to New York because she's found her fiance in the back of their car at her best friend's wedding with another woman. She runs away to New York with nothing but an overnight bag, her dress, her bridesmaid's dress, and a pair of Louboutins, and obviously a passport and some money. And when she gets to New York and finds a hotel, she meets the concierge, who is Jenny Lopez, not J-Lo, but she's called Jenny Lopez. And she ends up being Angela's fairy godmother. So she takes her around New York, she gets her to all the right shops to get some new clothes. She gives her what she needs in this time of like complete and utter heartbreak. So she becomes Jenny's best friend, and the story essentially just follows. It's just essentially all the way through. I thought it was a love story until I got to the end of this book, and then I was like, oh my god, how did I not realise that this whole series is essentially a series of friendship? It is the friendship between Angela and Jenny and the other girls that are involved in the series, but especially between Angela and Jenny, is just amazing. It's exactly what I have with my best friends, and just I cried so much at the end of this book, honest to God. It was amazing. I can't tell you how much I'm obsessed with this series, like literally obsessed. I was supposed to be meeting Lindsay last week. I didn't get the chance to do so because I was really ill with my mental health and I didn't get a chance to go. But I'm really, really hoping that in the future I will get a chance to meet her, because I will super fangirl with her over her, to be honest. But yeah, absolutely loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. I would give it 1,000,000 out of 1,000,000 stars if it was possible. But I do highly recommend everybody should be reading this. Like, honestly, whenever I'm at, when there's the random questions on Twitter, like, who's your favourite author, or what is your all-time favourite series or book, it's always Lindsay Kelk, I Heart Series, I Heart New York, like, every single time. I'm obsessed. Highly recommend. You've got to go check it out. Please, please. Let me know if you've read that series and you want to talk about it, because honestly, I just can't stop talking about it. My friend literally read the book in one day. She was so obsessed. This book, I mean, because she read the entire series while we were on holiday in Salou a couple of years ago. But yes, I read 17 books this month. If you read any of those books and you liked them or hated them, let me know in the comments down below. I'm really intrigued to see what other people thought of them. If you love the I Heart series, let me know and we will chat, because I'm obsessed. And yeah, let me know if you put any of these on your TBR, because I've mentioned them in my book, in my wrap up, sorry, because I'm really intrigued to see if people actually read anything that I mention in my wrap-ups. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Let's have a chat. And if you liked this vlog, please give it a like. I would really appreciate it. I apologise for it being so long. I just read a lot of really good books this month and I wanted to tell you about them. So yes, I shall check you next time. Bye for now.